Chapter 2332, The Dark Moon Empire 1. Seeing them, Zhang Yi breathed a slight sigh of relief. It seems the Vatican wasn't lying. They can indeed communicate with the Lunarians. However, the location where their warship landed seemed unsuitable, as it happened to be near the battlefield, and thus came under attack. The White Legion showed great respect for the woman, and Zhang Yi clearly heard the Silver Centaur say, "Greetings, Your Highness, the Seventh Guardian." The Seventh Guardian General of the Shining Moon Empire, Ciel Yunyan. She appeared on the battlefield, saw the chaotic scene around her and the standoff between humans and the two legions, and her brows furrowed slightly. Then, in an extremely cold voice, she asked, "What happened?" The members of the Dark Legion slowly retreated, their eyes filled with obvious apprehension. However, soon after, a warship shrouded in dark clouds also flew over. A group of mysterious people dressed in black robes adorned with blue star patterns descended from the warship. Their physique is similar to that of the people of the Radiant Moon Empire, but their appearance is quite different. The person in the lead had long white hair, but his features were shrouded in darkness, and nothing could be seen except for a deep blue crescent moon decoration on the back of his head. Dark Moon Empire, 6th Black Moon Priest, Xian Yu Feiming. Both sides' top executives were clearly present, and Zhang Yi sensed a powerful aura emanating from Ciel Yunyan and Xian Yu Feiming. However, they were not dangerous. These two people did not pose a strong threat to them. They seemed to be wondering what the purpose of these humans' appearance here was. Zhang Yi immediately said loudly to them, "We are 6th-generation humans from Earth. We came here only to investigate the cause of the problem with the moon. We have no ill intentions whatsoever." Brian, who was not far away, had his eyes practically rolling to the sky. "Hi, bro. Do you think they'll believe you if you say that? We wiped out at least several thousand of their people, and you're still saying you had no malicious intent. Do they really think the moon people are fools?" In any case, they were all very cautious and prepared for battle. Just then, on the Dark Moon Empire side, the 6th Black Moon Priest, Xian Yu Feiming, nodded. "I see, I understand now." "Brian, huh? No, what do you understand? Are all the people of you this easy to talk to?" Behind Ciel Yunyan, Sister Leibniz stepped forward and said a few words to her, and a look of realization appeared in Ciel Yunyan's eyes. It was all a misunderstanding. Today's sacrifice ends here. You may all leave. With a wave of her hand, she gave the order to retreat to the army of the Radiant Moon Empire. On the other side, Xian Yu Feiming also raised his wide sleeves and gestured for his subordinates to retreat. Without any hesitation, the armies of both countries withdrew in their respective directions like the receding tide. This harmonious scene left Zhang Yi feeling completely bewildered. Before long, people from the two great kingdoms among the moon people arrived nearby. Leibniz stepped forward and explained to Zhang Yi and the others, "Although you disturbed the important sacrificial ceremony, you also helped the process, so the leaders of the Radiant Moon Empire and the Dark Moon Empire will not hold it against you. I already told Princess Ciel Yunyan about the purpose of our coming here, and she was very grateful for our arrival." Zhang Yi listened to Leibniz's explanation with some puzzlement. Sacrifice. What's the meaning? This war? A wealth of knowledge about ancient times surfaced in Zhang Yi's mind. In primitive tribal times, people did indeed offer sacrifices to the gods through war and killing prisoners. In a moment, he understood something else. No wonder when they arrived, both armies turned to them and attacked them. It seems they intend to sacrifice them as well. Zhang Yi's attitude was still very devout. The moon people are about 1/3 taller than ordinary humans. The two leaders of the Radiant Moon Empire and the Dark Moon Empire were both more than a head taller than Zhang Yi. However, this body size is within an acceptable range. Xiu Lunyan is as beautiful as a doll sculpted by a master. Xian Yu Feiming can't see her face clearly at all, but she gives people a more mysterious feeling. The two sides didn't seem to get along. When Ciel Yunyan stared at Xian Yu Feiming, her eyes were filled with a chilling light. "We'll take our guests from Earth back with us for now," Xian Yu Feiming said. "We also have something to say to them." The scene was somewhat strange. Zhang Yi knew nothing about the moon people or anything on the moon. So now he doesn't know what to choose and can only look to the people of the Vatican to see what they plan to do. Father Orion, the disciplined priest, suggested, "How about this? We split into two groups. One group will go with the Radiant Moon Empire and the other with the Dark Moon Empire. After we've heard their stories, we can reunite." Zhang Yi frowned, splitting the troops. Although Xian Yu Fei Ming gave him a sense of pressure, he was confident that he could survive if a fight really broke out. After all, he still has quite a few trump cards up his sleeve. Therefore, he had no objection. "What about the group from Colombia?" Zhang Yi asked. Leibniz said, "They've already joined us, in another direction." After some discussion, everyone decided that Zhang Yi and the others would go to the Dark Moon Empire first, while the people from the Holy See and the group from the Colombian fleet would go to the Radiant Moon Empire. After that, the two sides exchanged items. After reaching a consensus, the two parties parted ways. Zhang Yi, acting as the leader of the fleet, went straight to Xian Yu Fei Ming and politely introduced himself. "I come from the most powerful nation on Earth, a nation called Huaxiu. My name is Chaos, and my purpose in coming here is to investigate the changes on the moon. Because we discovered that the moon is breaking apart, and debris may fall to Earth, affecting our survival." Xian Yu Fei Ming's gaze lingered on that enormous warship for a moment, intentionally or unintentionally, but only for a moment. "I was somewhat surprised, but not too shocked. As fourth-generation civilization beings, they and the Songyuan clan came from the same great era. It may simply be that they belong to different time periods within those hundreds of millions of years. So they've seen these super warships before. It's even possible their technology has reached that level." Xian Yu Fei Ming's laughter rang out. Although she was standing right opposite Zhang Yi felt as if the voice was coming from a very distant place. "Welcome to us. Right now, we are indeed facing a lot of trouble. Any assistance is something we need." Chapter 2333, The Dark Moon Empire 2. Zhang Yi stored the enormous streamer in his own alternate dimension and then followed Xian Yu Fei Ming and the others onto their spaceship. It was a spaceship so black it could swallow up light, its shape completely obscured. It doesn't look very big, about the size of a human passenger plane. But after being absorbed by a beam of light, they discovered that the space inside was extremely vast, almost like a palace in the clouds. However, the lighting here is dim, and the decorations are mainly dark blue and dark. Zhang Yi and the others arrived at the palace. Xian Yu Fei Ming sat on the throne at the head of the table, while the others sat down below. Zhang Yi got straight to the point. "We've just arrived here and don't know anything. If you don't mind, we'd appreciate it if you could tell us what's been going on here." Xian Yu Fei Ming had a servant bring over some murky food, placed in a large black metal container. It looked bluish-green, and its contents were unknown. It didn't resemble tea, nor did it look like food. "If I had to describe it, it looks like the tofu pudding that humans eat." Xian Yu Fei Ming spoke up. "According to your local customs, guests are entertained with drinks and food. I wonder if you can eat our food." Zhang Yi smiled and said, "Our physiological structures are different, and our eating habits are also different. I appreciate your kindness, but I'm afraid of getting an upset stomach." Fatty Sue sat to the side, curiously picking up the container to examine it. Upon hearing Zhang Yi's words, he hurriedly put it down, fearing that he might make himself sick from eating it. Xian Yu Fei Ming didn't press the matter, but simply said, "On the moon, there are far fewer germs than on your Earth, so the food is absolutely clean." Zhang Yi nodded, remembering those words, but still didn't eat anything. After exchanging a few pleasantries, the group still inquired about the changes on the moon. Xian Yu Fei Ming didn't keep anyone in suspense and explained the past of the moon in detail. 3.5 billion years ago, the Ihan people split up. This is exactly what the owner of that black memory chip said. The radical Ihan people chose to come to the moon. Kagago established a rule for ancient civilizations that they should not be discovered by the current human race. Most ancient civilizations chose to hide underground or in the deep sea, but they chose to hide on the far side of the moon, making themselves forever undiscoverable. A century ago, A human lunar probe landed on the moon, but the astronauts on board had that memory erased. Xian Yu Fei Ming slowly and deliberately recounted the long story. The Aihen people are very few in number, and they have achieved immortality, so they have given up the ability to reproduce. However, they need some help in order to seal Drucker's gods. Therefore, they created the fourth generation of humans, the Yihuan race, also known as the Moon People. Upon hearing this, Zhang Yi couldn't help but exclaim, "The fourth generation was actually created by the Yihan people? Doesn't that make them no different from the creators?" Xian Yu Fei Ming was not angry after being interrupted by Zhang Yi. The others below reacted in the same way, their faces filled with shock. Indra murmured, "Can humans create new humans? Isn't that usurping the authority of the gods? So, humans really can become gods." Lu Karen has a new understanding of this. Just like humans can create intelligent life forms. It's just that before the technology reaches a certain level, intelligent life forms cannot be considered an independent human race. Xian Yu Fei Ming nodded. The second-generation gods, the Aihen race, are the creations most satisfied with by the Creator. Their power is close to that of the Creator. It is precisely because of this that they realize the meaninglessness of life and choose to collectively return to the ether. Zhang Yi smiled and said, "So, the radicals who chose to come to the moon are actually imperfect." That's not the case. They simply developed self-awareness and were striving to find meaning in their existence. Xian Yu Fei Ming replied. The crowd fell silent and continued to listen to her story. Having experienced the changes in the world, you should already know about the existence of the Druk gods. There are still 7 of the most powerful Druk gods in the world today. The one sealed on the moon is named Samel. That was indeed the name Zhang Yi heard. After all, the translation mechanism was very intelligent. Samel's power is extremely strong. The ancient Aihen people had to use their eternal lives to seal him away. She then smiled and looked at everyone. "Do you know how the seal is created?" Zhang Yisun said, "How would I know? You're just asking nonsense." After a moment's thought, Indra smiled gently and said confidently, "It's a cage." "What kind of cage was it?" Xian Yu Fei Ming looked at Di Shitian and asked. Indra was momentarily speechless, but then smiled calmly and said, "Of course, it's a very effective cage." Xian Yu Fei Ming nodded approvingly and gestured for Di Shitian to stop talking. The Druckers are extremely difficult to kill, especially the last 7 who survived. Even the Creator could not kill them, because these 7 individuals have gathered the strength of all the Druckers. They possess the most terrifying life force in the entire universe. They can devour everything to become stronger. Therefore, to seal them away, we must use even more powerful forces to suppress them. A seal is a manifestation of power. However, the Druckers can certainly absorb this sealing power as well. Therefore, over the long course of time, they've been able to grow stronger by absorbing the sealing power, while the seal itself weakens. Upon hearing this, Zhang Yi and the others felt a sense of despair and fear. This feeling is like adding fuel to the fire. As time goes on, the Druckers will continue to grow stronger. There is absolutely no foolproof sealing method. Zhang Yi couldn't help but ask, "So, the seal on the moon is loosened?" "That's right," Xian Yu Fei Ming said without hesitation. For countless years, the 12 Silver Kings of the Aihen race have used their own bodies to become the 12 pillars of the seal, using all their power to strengthen the seal. But their power will grow weaker and weaker, while the sealed Druk people will grow stronger and stronger. That's how the Radiant Moon Empire came to exist. The Radiant Moon Empire needs to create a fire seed every so often. The fire seed possesses the purest ethereal power, and it is sacrificed to strengthen the seal. In the past, the fire was lit once every few thousand years. Later, it gradually became once every few hundred years. Now, it is sacrificed once every 30 years. Chapter 2334 Dark Moon Empire 3. Xian Yu Fei Ming's words slowly unraveled the mystery that had been entangled in the minds of Zhang Yi and the others. So the current changes in the moon are due to the lack of fire? Zhang Yi asked. Xian Yu Fei Ming nodded. The incident happened a year ago. The seed of fire cultivated by the Radiant Moon Empire was taken away by a shadow warrior from our Dark Moon Empire and entered the forbidden Dark Sun Forest on the moon. That is an area corrupted by Samuel's spiritual will. Once the Lunarians enter it, they will be corrupted, driven mad, and become terrifying shadow monsters. Without the support of the fire's power, the seal began to loosen. A wisp of Samuel's power leaked out, causing the moon to shatter. After all, the entire moon exists to seal Samuel. Xian Yu Fei Ming opened her arms, showing them the entire enormous moon. The crack you see is just a tiny fraction of what's to come. If Samuel were to truly break free of the seal, the entire moon would collapse instantly. The atmosphere at the scene became extremely oppressive. The news was undoubtedly terrifying. After the moon breaks apart, it will inevitably fall towards Earth. Even an asteroid with a diameter of 10 kilometers could cause the mass extinction of the 5th generation of reptiles. If the entire moon were to shatter and be pulled towards Earth by gravity, humanity would surely perish. Zhang Yi's eyes flickered violently, and an extreme sense of fear arose within him. Even Earth isn't safe anymore. Just then, Yang Xinxin, who was sitting to his right, grasped his hand. Zhang Yi looked up and saw Yang Xinxin staring at him. She said calmly, "Don't worry too much, brother. The moon has existed for billions of years. It's not so easy for Samuel to break the seal. Have you forgotten what the Qinling Dragon clan said?" Upon hearing this, Zhang Yi recalled the words Hutu had spoken. The Qinling Dragon clan's assessment of the lunar changes was that they would not be affected by the events in the short term. As expected, Xian Yu Fei Ming also said, "The 12 Silver Kings are still sitting on the silver throne, so there is no need to worry about the seal collapsing within 100 years. But we must do our best to repair any flaw, no matter how small. Otherwise, it will be like breaking ice. Once the first crack appears, the rest will break down faster." There was a lot of information to be had, so Zhang Yi rubbed his temples. Well, I wanted to ask, what is a fire seed? And why was it lost? Are there any other powers on this moon besides your 2 empires? Xian Yu Fei Ming replied, "No, there are only 2 races on the moon. As for the loss of the fire seed, that's a long story." Zhang Yi keenly realized that Xian Yu Fei Ming was not referring to 2 countries, but rather 2 races. He frowned as he looked at Xian Yu Fei Ming, sensing that there were still many secrets hidden on this moon. "You mean 2 races? What do you mean by that? Aren't the Dark Moon Empire and the Radiant Moon Empire both 4th-generation races?" The others also looked at Xian Yu Fei Ming, their hearts filled with deep doubt. Xian Yu Fei Ming remained silent for a long time after hearing this question. After a long while, she raised her head. Her face, shrouded in darkness and completely devoid of features, held an expression that was impossible to discern. "We are indeed all 4th generation. However, they were created by the Ihen race. And we were created by Samuel." These words immediately created a tense atmosphere below. Brian barked whiff and jumped up from the chair, landing on all 4s with a cautious and sharp look in his eyes at Xian Yu Fei Ming. Saladin and his men also looked serious, as if they were ready to fight at any moment. Zhang Yi raised his hand. "Don't be nervous. I think we should listen to what Lord Xian Yu Fei Ming has to say." No wonder the people from the Radiant Moon Empire and the Dark Moon Empire gave him completely different feelings. Moreover, their relationship didn't seem very harmonious. Xi Lu Nian looked at Xian Yu Fei Ming with wariness and rejection. So that's why. Xian Yu Fei Ming recounted their history. Although Samuel was sealed away, his immense power could not be completely contained. Every so often, the seal loosens and his power leaks out. Therefore, 2 special phenomena have emerged. One is the Dark Sun Forest, located on the far side of the moon, which is shrouded in the dark power of Samuel year-round, forming a forbidden zone that can drive people mad and bewilderment. Another special phenomenon is the life it creates in dreams. Throughout human history, The most powerful second-generation gods and third-generation demon gods both possess the ability to create humans. According to Xian Yu Fei Ming, the ability to create life is not exclusive to the creator, Kagago. So-called life is a combination of physical form and memory in the material world, plus the spirituality of the etheric fragments that have split off. When one's strength reaches a certain level, one can even control their etheric power at will, splitting it and recreating life. Zhang Yi's understanding is that it's like dividing one's own soul and then giving life to other objects. This is why there is no direct contact between the Moon People and the Earth People. Although they are both in the fourth era, their creators are completely different. Xian Yu Fei Ming then told them that although the Moon People, like the Yi Huan clan on Earth, were all beings in the fourth generation of life cycle, but they are completely different. The people of the Radiant Moon Empire were created by the I Hen people to seal Samel, so they are like a swarm of bees, each born with their own mission. For example, a spark. They are individuals born from the Radiant Moon clan, destined to be sacrificed one day. As for the people of the Dark Moon Empire, they were born with only one purpose: to liberate Samel. Upon hearing this, Zhang Yi cautiously asked Xian Yu Fei Ming, "Then why aren't you carrying out your mission now?" Xian Yu Fei Ming said, "This is a very long process." She looked down at Zhang Yi and the others and asked the same question. If the Creator were to destroy you and bring about the end of the world, would you choose death, or would you choose to survive and fight against your Creator? Is there even a need to ask? Everyone present demonstrated their stance through their actions. When you benefit me, you are my God. When you want my life, you are a demon. Forget about any creator or anything like that. Right now, I am just myself. Xian Yu Fei Ming nodded. That's what we think too. Once the demon god awakens, he will indiscriminately devour everything to increase his power. And we, the fragments of ether that have been separated, will inevitably be taken back by him. Therefore, after awakening our own will, we choose to betray.